biggest takeaway from both games. I did this in both.
I just need the apology to be as loud as the disrespect was. That's all I need. It was a bad shot, but he was out of rhythm as well.
Don't try to take up. That was a bad shot.
He was out of rhythm though. What's good, Bama State? It's Kendal Mans, sports editor for the Hornet Tribune, and I'm here with my co-host
Khalil Stewart. I am the assistant sports editor, and welcome to another episode of The Wild Card,
where we talk everything ASU sports. If you didn't tune in to last week's episode, make sure you go back and watch that. But for now, we got a new week, new topics. Let's not waste no more time. Let's get into it. So we haven't talked about baseball and softball for a couple of weeks, so we want to give you guys an update and talk about the team so far. So Khalil, let's start out with baseball. What you think about them so far?
Disappointing week for them this week. It's been the story of their season, the way they lost. They got off to hot starts. As I like to say, the bats were singing. Shout out to West End. Corey King, Ian Matos, they had they scored 5 runs the first inning, but they scored 1 for the following innings
against Sanford.
Yeah, but I told you during the game, I said I felt the momentum shift during the game. I felt when their dugout, they started, getting into the game, and then from that moment on, you saw we were scoreless. They got a home run to chip things off, and it was a disappointing loss, but it went a lot like the Southern game on opening night when they lost off a walk-off home run in extra innings. But the interesting thing about baseball is the fact that it's different than any other sport. You can, no matter what the lead is, you can always come back. You can, you get 3 opportunities, 3 outs is what I'm saying, to, put a team away. And we didn't execute that plan, and we suffered the consequences.
I think both of us, since we've been covering these sports at ASU, I think we've seen teams struggle to kind of close out games at times. They have a long season. The season just started. I feel like those are things that they can clean up. Those are things that they can, get used to and start to hammer out, the problems and issues that they have with that. But I like the way that they did take a commanding lead at the beginning. First inning, like you said, they scored 5 runs, and I was really convinced. I thought that they were dominating for the most part.
I thought the score was going to be lopsided. I thought it was going to be a blowout.
Yeah, the Sanford scored 2 pairs in the last 2 innings, in each of the last 2 innings. So I think that that's really what, like you said, late game execution. I think that's going to be the determining factor for them for sure.
Yeah, definitely. They take on UT Martin tomorrow at 6 p.m. Well, tonight, my mistake, at 6 p.m.
They face them on the next 3 days, actually.
Yeah, so that's an opportunity to get back in the win column because this losing streak early in the season, it's great. It's great to have losing streaks earlier in the season rather than late. Because towards the end of the season, you want to be playing your best ball, and that's something you got to work on. But let's transition over to softball. They are also on a losing streak. What was your takeaway from their loss to Syracuse this past week?
Well, I actually want to talk about all 3 of their games, all 3 of their losses in the Waterberg Softball Invitational in Stevensville, Texas. I think with things like this, when you're away from home and stuff like that, you're on these long type of stretches of games. I think that it can be kind of tough for you to, kind of come back. I feel like you lose one game, you lose one game, then you lose another. It kind of compounds, and then it's really hard to come back. So I think that they can put that in the past. They won the first 2 games, but they couldn't close the last 3. I think they can put that in the past, and I think that they can look forward. They have a pretty long home stretch.
Starting tonight.
Yeah, starting tonight against Grambling. So I think that they have an opportunity to kind of bounce back from that. And it's honestly reminiscent of how this team was last year. I mean, they won a SWAC championship last year, and they had a really rough opening to the season. So I'm not too stuck on these losses. Like we both said about the baseball team, it's a long season, so I think that they'll be fine.
I appreciate you taking up all the time on that topic right there. But
you can say something.
No, I don't want to cut you off. I'm respectful on this show, so I'm gonna let you. Don't say no. Relax. It's my turn.
Okay,
I'll let you have your turn. It's my turn.
I don't really know about that. Sure.
So for me, I don't have any major concerns about this losing streak because again, they are the defending champions. So as I said, when we watched them again in the first game against Austin Peay, I thought that they may have had a championship slump. You're coming out slow, but it's a hangover. They'll be fine though. They will absolutely be fine. A lot of upperclassmen on this team, but I will say this. I wish that these losses that they were having were closer games.
Yeah.
Because when you're losing 11-0,
7-0, like
that's
yeah.
unacceptable no matter what you are. Now I know last week we had a whole discussion about mediocrity.
Yeah.
And I'm sounding very hypocritical right now. But I do believe that we need to, start putting together a win streak.
Yeah, I think they got to get it together for sure. You don't want to stay in the losing column for too long. I think that's a bad look for any team.
But this is how they started off last season as well, and they picked it up towards the end of the season, because what really matters, especially for them, conference play is what matters. Get into the conference playoff tournament, and just smooth sailing.
Yeah, so I mean, like we both said about the baseball and the softball teams, hopefully they can get a win as they come back home. They have a couple of home games coming up.
Losing is not a good feeling.
Yeah, not at all. So hopefully they can get back in the win column.
Absolutely.
But now we want to transition into the world of track, where they just had the SWAC Indoor Championships. We had a lot of great performances, and some got the gold and some others placed. So Khalil, who do you want to start out with? We have a lot of guys and girls to talk about.
Definitely. So I want to start off with Matthew Clark. He placed 8th in the men's 60-meter dash. He ran a 6.9. Then he went to the 200 and he ran a 21.4. Shout out to him for that. Next, I want to talk about Justice Traynor and Kevin Smith. Both of them scored. They scored a combined points, and I believe it was Justin Traynor that ran a 21.7 in the men's 200, followed by in the 800 he ran a 1 minute and 54 seconds. Marcus Cade scored in 3 different events. He finished 8th in the long jump with his 6.93 meters, and I want to close out with Xavier Clark. He jumped for 1.9 meters in the high jump, and in the triple jump he had a clearance of 14.4 meters. So shout out to them. They did the thing.
Absolutely. I have a lot too. Like we said before, you got the guys, I got the girls. And I'm gonna be honest with you.
Can I say one more name? Because I don't want to leave him up. Daniel Bashia. If I pronounce your name wrongly, I apologize. But he finished 4th in the shot put with a 14.37 meters, and he finished 3rd in the weight throw with a 15.5 meters. So continue. I apologize.
Nah, you good. I guess you're not as polite as you thought you were.
Don't start him, Kendal.
So I don't think you could talk about SWAC championships without talking about Kiana Evans.
She's outstanding.
Absolutely. She's a senior who dominated in her last indoor meet. She won the gold in the 200 meter with 23.7, and she won gold in the 400 meter with a 55.26. Phenomenal performances. She's really showing out, and honestly, I can't wait to see her, especially in the outdoor season as well. But I have a couple more. Taranik Alexander, she finished 3rd in long jump with a distance of 5.87 meters. Yulani Toussaint, she finished 5th in the 200 meter and for 24.7, and she finished 6th in the 60 meter with 7.66. Vanell Grant, we talked about her a couple of times before. She finished 6th in the 400 meter with a 56.35. Jamila Thomas, she finished 8th in the 800 with 2 minutes and 21 seconds. And Rebecca Bernardin, she finished top 6 in 3 events. She finished 4th in the 800 meter with 2:15. She finished 6th in the 3000 meter with 10:45, and she finished 6th in the 5000 meter with 19:19. I'm gonna be honest with you, I wouldn't make any of these lists, so congratulations to her. Long distance was definitely not my thing at all, so definitely congratulations to
right
her.
there.
Oh, for sure. So definitely shout out to all of the track athletes. They did a great job in indoor for their indoor season, and I'm looking forward to seeing outdoor, definitely.
Absolutely. So shout out to them for a great season. But don't get too comfortable. They do return for the outdoor season on March 18th when they will take part in the Black and Gold Invitational in Orlando, Florida. Check that out.
Absolutely.
Now we gotta take a transition into women's basketball. They're hot right now. They are playing the best basketball that I have seen them play in all season.
I feel like we've been saying they hot for a while now.
Okay,
it?
Kendal, let's not get too
Okay.
cocky.
All right, I'm sorry.
Let's just give them their praise, and
You're right.
But what is your biggest takeaways from this winning streak they've been going on?
I don't think you can talk about this team without talking about Ayanna Emmanuel. She scored 27 points and 41 points respectively in the last 2 games. In my opinion, I've been telling you for the entire season, she's a gifted scorer in all 3 phases of the game. And she's really starting to separate herself from the pack. You know, she's one of those people that she's a senior on the team. And I think she's really starting to take the reins as far as leading them in the stats category, because all of her stats have been down from last season because of the depth that this team has. But overall, I think the team has shown that they know when to step up. They know when that moment is. They had an overtime game versus Bethune-Cookman, and they scored 20 points in OT. And they held the other team to 6 points. That's that's serious.
Mm-hmm.
And they also had a 30-point third quarter against FAMU. So you can kind of see that this team is really starting to hit their stride and win games. I think every game tells you something about the team. Mm-hmm. But I really want to hear what you think, because you've been kind of critical.
So I want to give a shout out to Ayanna Emmanuel. A 40-piece nugget, no sauce.
40-piece
shocked.
No
I'm
sauce.
not gonna lie. She's been balling over the last 5 games. Mm-hmm. She won SWAC Player of the Week. Yep. Averaging 34 points and 4 rebounds over this past week. Shout out to her. This takes me back to the first couple episodes we started doing this. I always said that I feel like the guards need to step up their play, because as you've seen recently, Shamaya's play has it's dipped a slight. She's been a little bit less efficient than we're used to seeing her. Yeah. So with the guards taking the pressure off of her, it takes it's gonna be big come tournament time. So now you have multiple threats on this court that you have to worry about if you're Jackson State, because that's who we're gunning after. Let's not hide the fact that that's the team that we're chasing after.
That's the team to beat for sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I'm very impressed with this team so far.
I think not to cut you off, but I think that
anyways, but go ahead.
I think that another thing that's really impressing me about this team is their depth. We talked about their depth all season. One person I want to highlight for sure is Jada Neji. She had a very hot start versus FAMU. She finished with 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 block. She filled up the stat sheet, but she came out of the gate hot against FAMU. I believe she scored the first 6 points. She was very active on the boards, very active on defense as well. So I think that performances like that remind you how deep this rotation can go when it comes to the SWAC tournament. We've seen basketball in different levels, NBA, college. Whenever you go to the playoffs, the rotations get tighter.
You're doing it again, by the way. But
what am I doing?
Go ahead. Keep going.
I mean, maybe you just don't have enough to say. I don't know. But
maybe you just been cutting me off the whole show. That's all it is. But
right, maybe. But yeah, so I think that this type of depth is really going to help them in the SWAC tournament as far as their rotations go. So
yeah, definitely.
I'll concede to you though.
I still want you to respond to what I'm saying though. But I appreciate. Anyways, this second seed is not locked up yet. Not official. I mean,
not at all.
It's good that they're in it currently. It's very uncomfortable. This weekend, tomorrow is a huge game. A&M, it has huge implications because 10-5. If you look in the standings right now, I check the standings probably about once every 2 weeks just to see where they're gonna lie. And if we can get a win over A&M tomorrow, we'll hold the tiebreaker. Right now is when all those games you play earlier in January and late December, they come to they're important shows because the tiebreakers. You play teams twice, and we have Southern, who was 10-5. Alabama A&M is obviously 10-5 as well. Southern is 9-6. So by no means have we wrapped up this tournament, this conference.
It's crazy. You would think so on a 5-game winning streak.
Yeah, but A&M they're streaking right now too, a 4-game winning streak.
Definitely, it's crazy.
But we both come to the agreement that Jackson State has pretty much locked up the SWAC, the regular season champions, as they should. They're a great basketball team. Shout out to them. But tomorrow has huge implications, and I think that Coach Jackson has focused his team's mental towards getting the number 2 seed rather than focusing on the number 1 seed. So,
yeah, I mean, like we both said, I think that this team is understanding of the moment. They know that their playoff seeding relies on the next couple of games.
Very experienced team.
Absolutely. And like you said, with A&M and Texas Southern on their heels, They gotta win. They gotta win. I would prefer, and I think they would prefer to win out. So that way they don't have to worry about another team,
because you don't want to end up in a situation where you might have to face Jackson State in the second round.
Yeah.
Because
I think you would want to face them in the championship game and no sooner than
exactly. That's something you definitely want to try to avoid. But I just want to give a shout out to Coach Jackson. Her adjustments in the game, I believe she deserves consideration for SWAC Coach of the Year.
I agree too.
Because in those games that we saw last week, you saw they fall down early, they fight back. She makes adjustments. They are a great basketball team. I get what you're saying now. I finally am starting to see what you said for the season. They are fun to watch.
Am I making you a believer? Are they making you a believer now?
Yes.
Oh man, that's all I wanted to hear.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to hear.
Yes.
I'm so happy you said that. But the Lady Hornets do travel to Huntsville this Saturday to battle the Bulldogs with the second seed in the balance. So make sure you guys go and show your support, because they return back next week to finish out their season with 2 home games. They need all the support they can as they ramp up for this playoff run. But now we want to transition to the guys. Khalil, we actually have some good news about the guys this week.
This is one of the rare moments in this show where I will say I was wrong. But not really. Really.
You said rare?
Rare.
I really want to hear this then.
Not medium, okay. Not well done. Rare.
Okay.
Feel me? Spare me for a minute. We want to harp on this Bethune-Cookman win, but to be fair, Bethune-Cookman is about the same as us. They were 6-20. We're 6-20. So what am I putting much stock in this as far as them making the SWAC championship? Not really, not at all. But I mean, for seeding wise, as far as making the tournament, I think that this team is focused there, has set their focus on as far as just making the tournament and being healthy. Because as we said, and you mentioned this in the past, I'll give you this. This is where I said I was wrong. Being healthy matters. 17 different lineup combinations. Trace has been in that lineup. Juan has been in that lineup. Gerald as well. So you just want to be healthy and see what the Cards may play against the top seeds.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been great. It's been great hearing you tell me how many times I was right last week.
I said, whoa, hold on. How many times?
It's just been great, because it feels like a lot of this show has just been you apologizing.
I apologize once. That's why I said rare.
It's just been great.
Not medium.
But I'm not gonna lie to you. I am very impressed with this team. And the reason why I say this is because we talked about it last week. And I told you this last week.
You don't even have double-digit wins.
You're right. I told you the thing about this team that I wanted to see more than anything else, more than win columns, more than anything else, was to see them play inspired basketball. And that's exactly what they did.
I don't think that was inspired basketball. I think that was desperation basketball. It's a difference.
Desperation? They seemed inspired by that desperation though, right? Right or wrong?
Being inspired or being desperate is two different things. When you need something, you're going to fight after.
We can disagree on that. But I told you that Juan and Trace would make a difference. And you saw how big of a difference they made. Juan scored 24 points versus FAMU, and he scored 15 big points versus Bethune-Cookman. Trace, now his stat line wasn't amazing. He had 6 points and 2 blocks in his first game back versus Bethune-Cookman. Off the bench
now, I noticed that.
Yeah. But he was great on the defensive end. He did a great job facilitating. He did a great job just being that presence that they needed. They shot a lot better too from the 3, like I told you they would. They shot 17% last week. They shot 53% from the 3 against FAMU and 48% from the 3 against Bethune-Cookman. So again, I was right about that.
Cool.
But I'm not gonna lie to you though, I can't wait to see this team play in the Acadome if they're playing like this, because the atmosphere is gonna be crazy. I really do.
If you make the tournament, yes, of course it will be. But if you're just playing for nothing, playing for chips and donuts, then it's not going to mean much to me. But
oh, by the way, we have to give a shout out to Kenny. I know we're running low on time, but we have to give a shout out to Kenny. He's finally coming into his own.
Yeah, ever since that debacle he had where he threw the ball up, he's been balling. I will give him this. He's been balling. Yeah. Shout out to Kenny, man. But absolutely. I want to say this last thing, and then we can move on to the best segment of the show. Tomorrow, they need to win at least 2 of these last 3 games. And I know it's going to be hard because you face the best 2 teams in the SWAC next week, Southern and Grambling. But winning tomorrow can fix a lot of things because, as I said earlier in the show, those wins earlier in the season when you're facing two teams and when you're facing the same team twice in the regular season. For example, with Jackson State, they are above you right now. They are the 8th seed. We are the 9th seed. If we can win tomorrow, we will jump them and we will be the 8th seed, which will qualify for the tournament. But, you know, that's very important for this team. Let's just get healthy and see where our cards play. But now it's time for my favorite segment in the show, your favorite segment in the show, everybody's favorite segment of the show. Please give it a shout out if you're watching.
Absolutely. Best in the next time, baby. So we give a shout out to the best performances of the past week. And you can't start this segment off without talking about the track team. So we got 3 track athletes. The first one is Kiana Evans, who was named most outstanding track performer for the season in the championship. And she was also named all SWAC in the 60 meter, the 200 meter, and the 400 meter events after winning gold in the 200 and the 400. Cedric Jones, he received an all SWAC nod for pole vaulting as he captured gold with 4,621 points. Shamaya Jones, she earned conference honors in the 800 meter run, and she was on the relay team who also received all SWAC honors as well. My last 2 are for basketball. We touched on their performances before. Ayanna Emmanuel, 34 points per game,
No
4.5 rebounds,
no nuggets,
3 steals, and 1.5 assists per game. She shot 56% from the field, 41% from long range, and 84% from the charity stripe. And she had a career high 41 points versus Bethune-Cookman. And lastly, Kenny Strawbridge. Career high 28 points versus Bethune-Cookman. He had 5 rebounds and 6 assists, shooting 60% from the field. We want to give a big congratulations to all the Hornets from this past week. It's a lot of ballers on this campus, and we can't wait to add some more next week. So make sure you guys tune in and see the very best that Alabama State has to offer.
Definitely. I want to take this moment, and I told you I was going to do this, but
I'm kind of scared. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's actually encouraging.
All right, what you got?
I got 2 things. I need for the Acadome to be packed out for the girls and the guys game, not just the boys, because these girls are balling. They need all the support they can get. We look at all these other SWAC schools, and we see they have all of their fans in full throttle. They're showing up in full form. We need the same support for the girls that are balling right now. Keep the same support for the guys. It's important for them. Next thing, when we give you all the best in this, please repost it. We love y'all. We want to give you all this love and support. We want to put you on a higher platform because we believe this school is beautiful. We believe these athletes are doing great things. That's all I gotta say. Now, thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. Make sure you follow our Instagram at Hornet Tribune. Like, comment, subscribe on all platforms.
Yes.
Next week, tune in for another episode of The Wild Card.
Last 2 weeks, bro. What we gonna do? Basketball season about to be over. Baseball about to ramp up.
I get these fans involved.
Oh, most def.